sitting down a pile of ashes, and he's a couple of sores, and we don't know what kind of disease he has, but it's probably something pretty terrible. Most of the commentators say elephantiasis. Some of them say it's leprosy, and some of them get somewhere in between. And Job has his three comforters that come around and try to help him out when he's in this kind of trouble. And by the time those three comforters get through with him, he's more miserable than he was before they came. Some folks don't have the ability to comfort anybody. And when Job gets talking to these three comforters, he tells them this. He tells them, first of all, he says, "You're miserable comforters." In other words, you don't know how to comfort. Then the other passage I gave you, he says, "You're all physicians of no value." Oh, that's pretty bad. Now, physicians of no value, he says, physicians of no value and miserable comforters. And Job is sick, and he's dying. If the Lord hadn't got him out of it, he'd been dead in a few days, probably. He'd been that way for several days, 7 days when they talked to him, maybe for several months before that. And if Job hadn't gotten well and God hadn't healed him, he'd have died. And he's there in that ash heap, and his family's gone, his friends are all turned against him, he's going through the agonies of the damned. And his three buddies come around and try to comfort him, and they just make a mess of things. And this reminds me to speak on what I'm going to speak on tonight. What I'm going to speak on tonight I call the comforts of death. The comforts of death. I have another title for this message. It's called The Three Stooges. And I never can remember exactly who they are. Larry, Moe, and Joe, or Curly Moe and Larry, or Larry, Moe, and Joe, or Curly Joe and Moe. I never can't remember what they are. But there are three stooges that will show up for you about the time you decide to die, and they'll profess to give you comfort, and they're miserable comforters. There are three stooges going to show up just about the time you get ready to quit the bucket and offer you all kinds of advice and all kinds of wisdom. And as a matter of fact, they're offering you the advice and the wisdom right now and expect you to take it. And you'll find the hour of death that these three stooges are three of the most miserable comforters that ever lived. And these three stooges we call education, science, and religion. Now those are three stooges. Education, science. Those three, when it comes time to die, cannot do one cotton-picking thing for you. And why so many people trust them in life, I don't know. If people trust them in life to help them out, and let me tell you something, religion you can't live by, you can't die by. And these outfits, they profess to have all the answers, and they don't have any of the answers. But never has had any of the answers, then it will have the answers. So I'm going to talk to you about those things tonight and talk to you about the death and its comforters. And they're some miserable comforters they are. And the first of these we call education. Now, education professes to be a great savior. Bob Jones used to say, education without salvation is damnation. And I believe that. Education without salvation is damnation. That's the darn truth. And education always tries to bring it so positively, you know. You can talk about dying and dying and dying, you know, and the educators say, well, let's look at it positively, you know. Let's talk about living. Positive, positive, positive. Preachers they say, well, I don't preach about sin. I don't preach about death. Why? They're so negative. They're so negative. They're so negative. A preacher told me one time, he said, Ruffin, he said, you don't preach enough about love. So he said, why, there's a whole chapter in the Bible devoted to love. That's 1 Corinthians chapter 15 or 13. The whole chapter is dealing with love. And I said, well, if that's such a great thing, why does God take 12 chapters to ball them out before he puts it in? Did you read 1 Corinthians? You know what the first 12 chapters are? 12 chapters of unremitting rebuke for wrongdoing. Then he gets to the love. Here's the love, one chapter after 12. Boy, what a balance. After 12, we even amount. So a preacher doesn't talk about things that are unpalatable of the human taste and unpalatable of modern man. He's not preaching what God told him to preach. We have these comforters. These comforters are religion and education and science. Those are the comforters. America, a fellow said one time, is trying to drink itself to prosperity and warring itself to peace and fornicating itself to success and enjoying itself to heaven, and what it counts on to save it has been proved to be a lie over and over again. Somebody said one time, well, I just don't believe in life after death, Brother Ruffin. I believe you're dead like a dog, and that's the end of it. Somebody says, can you prove there is such a thing as life after death? Has it ever been proved? No, it hasn't been proved. You say, well, why do we keep trying to prove it? We keep trying to prove it because we believe it. There's something in you that tells you this doesn't end it. It's in everybody. It's in atheists. Over in Russia, I saw films one time. The films were of family funerals and people dying, and they were all atheists, supposedly. And they got up there, and when they got at the tomb, one fellow was crying and bawling his eyes out. I forget who was buried. I think it was his wife or his mother. And he was bawling his eyes out, and there in the grave where the body of the loved one was going to lie, that fellow took a little old sprig of a fir, an evergreen tree, and put it there in the coffin. What's that there for? What's you taking that plant, putting that plant in that coffin? What are you putting the flowers around the grave for? Flowers are supposed to be alive. They come up in the springtime. The little sprig of that fir tree in there means that guy hopes he's going to be resurrected. So you know, they put up a tombstone that says, rest in peace, till we meet again, till we meet again, till we meet again. What's got that on there for if you don't believe in resurrection? Well, you know, resurrection, what's put that thing on that till we meet again? You're going to meet again. That thing is embedded deep in the human heart. That's part of human nature, believing that there. Along comes education. What's education? Well, if you pick up any book on education, the history of education, if you pick up any book on how education is started, you'll find any book, including any encyclopedia, starts Western education with Socrates, a Greek philosopher. You know who he was? He was a Frisco faggot. He was just as clear as a $3 bill. You know how he died? Like a good faggot should die. He committed suicide. And so he went, let's go get mad with me. Go back and rewrite the history book. Pretend he wasn't a queer. He was. Pretend he didn't kill himself. He did. He drank hemlock, and before he drank hemlock, he took a rooster and sacrificed it to a scapulae, the snake god. So I take a kappa, baby. That's where your American education system came from. Socrates, told Aristotle, you never met three bigger hand bones in all your life. The bigger the valve, the more room for the back. Some of you are worried stiff because your kid